Man, you just gonna sneak up on me like that, man? I see how it is, bro. Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. All right, man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Of course, I'm your boy. I got you on the Sinquefield Cup. So I have Nodirbek Abdusattorov versus Wesley So taking out a round number 7. So, of course, all my people in the Philippines, I would say Maraming Salamat. Anybody who is coming from Uzbekistan, I would say Rahmat. But if you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look and see what we got for this game. All right, man, so we got D4, we got knight F6, we got the move C4, we got E6, knight goes to C3, and then we have bishop to B4. It is the Nimzo-Indian. No, I'm losing. No, I'm playing. You're not losing, bro. This is just like, it's a strong opening. Everything is good. You're good. Just settle down, bro. We do see the move E3. We got C5 trying to break white's center down. We got knight to E2. It is, wanting to take back here with the knight possibly. And then if the bishop takes, the knight can take. So the knight is very versatile on this square. We do see the move D5. We got the move A3. Asking the bishop, what do you want to do? You want to retreat or do you want to take my knight? So we do see Wesley So retreat the bishop back to A5. We got pawn taking C5, pawn taking C4. We do see bishop to D2. Now, one of the things about this specific position that we have here is that you do want to move this knight out of the way of this bishop so that you can grab your pawn. But you don't want to quite do it so quickly because you would be looking at bishop taking. And kind of the whole point of the Nimzo-Indian kind of comes to life. So we do see bishop D2 blocking first. We got castles by black. We do see the move knight to G3. We got the move B6. We see bishop taking C4, pawn taking C5. We got castles by white. We do see knight B to D7. And then we do see queen going to C2. And queen to C2 is a very nice move. It is kind of like... I kind of named it like the nook for the queen. You know, in a lot of positions, you see queen to C2 happening. You see queen to C7 happening. You play like the French defense or like, Sicilians and stuff. Queen C7, you always have to be looking for that move to come up. Well, we do see bishop to B7, a rook F to D1. And this is never bad. Putting the rook opposite the queen because these two pieces here, they can move away pretty quickly, and then your queen is just dropping, and you're sad, and you gotta like cry home. We do see the move H5, and this is a very common idea. Just to kick a knight that is on one of these squares, you'll see your opponent kind of flinging their pawn forward randomly. Sometimes it seems, but we are trying to knock this knight. Which we will see coming up, but we do have H3, and this is the novelty of the game. We do see the move H4. Now we kind of have to make a decision on our knight. Do we hate our knight and we're going to leave it there, or do we move it? And, Nodirbek is like, bro, I like my knight, bro. So he goes knight E4. We got knight taking E4, knight taking E4, bishop taking E4, queen taking E4. And then we do see knight to F6. And then we have the queen settling back on its nook. And I thought it was kind of funny because it's kind of like, when you're watching like one of those like ocean shows and you got the little crab comes out the hole. And then, he just kind of settles back off in there. That's kind of what the queen is doing, bro. You probably have seen it. We do see a queen going down to B6, and then we do see queen going to A4, and we're just like, bro, can we win a piece? But Wesley So's like, bro, we're not doing all that winning a piece stuff. So we do see bishop taking. We got rook taking D2, and this does save this pawn here on B2. Generally, anytime you have a queen that makes this type of a movement, you are kind of pressuring these two pawns. So, rook to D2 is just doing a good job of taking care of that. We do see rook A to D8, and then we do see rook sliding over to C2. And some of you guys might be looking in this position like, hey, man, this is a completely open file. Like, why don't I just double and, like, try to take everything over? You absolutely can do that, but you kind of end up in the same position anyway. If we saw rook A to D1, you would be looking at rook taking, and then knight to E4. And then, like I said, you got to go rook to C2 anyway. So, either way you kind of want to play it is cool, but it's just slightly stronger just to go rook C2 immediately. And there's a very specific point as to why he does that. We'll kind of see that a little bit later in the game. So we do see queen going up to B7, and then we have actually reached a point of the game. There is a very nice move that white can play. It kind of like just makes everything work in the white position. So if you want to pause the video and try to guess that move, go ahead and do so. Okay, cool. So What you guys should notice if you are in the white position, you really should notice it if you're black too, but in the white position, you should notice that there really isn't anything defending this pawn, but there also isn't anything defending this pawn either. And the queen is hitting this pawn and the rook is hitting this pawn. So you have the ability to kind of like move a piece out of the way, so that you can kind of make both of those come to life, and that is the bishop. But you know, you got to think about like, where do I put it though, right? Bishop d3 obviously just drops the bishop for no reason. So bishop to e2 is the move that I am looking for. It does kind of highlight all of this stuff that's going on. It does have rook attacking here and the queen attacking here, and you really don't have like a great move if you're black to really kind of defend all of this. We do see Wesley So actually go the best move in the position, and that's queen to e4. But it just runs into rook to c4, and then Wesley's like, bro, I thought I had it, man. I thought I was good, dude, but I'm not. So after rook to c4, we do see queen going up to f5, and then we see... so the thing about it is, when you know pretty much you're going to be winning a piece at some point, you don't want to be too hasty. You don't want to go grabbing pieces like super quick, because sometimes you can kind of like just build up pressure on a specific point and kind of take the piece at your leisure. So, you know, we have this double hit here, and now we have just double hit this pawn. So, obviously, black is not able to ever muster enough defense to protect both of them. But, you know, Nodirbek is kind of deciding which one he wants to do. So we do see rook down to d2. We got rook taking c5. And of course, this doesn't hang the bishop because this does hit the queen immediately. So we have to do something about that. So we do see the move e5. And then we now see rook 5 to c2. And basically, you know, Nodirbek is like, bro, let's just go. Let's just trade and give me the victory. So we do see rook f to d8, and then we do see queen to a5. And this is a nice crafty move. Not only is it kind of pinning this pawn down, it's hitting this rook, and it's also hitting this rook also. So the good thing about what white is doing, pretty much every single move, is they're placing specific threats. Anytime you can place a double threat on somebody's position, I mean, you're almost like just good to go, man. Because, I mean, these double attacks that you can continuously produce, you know, you're just not able to defend it, you know, in the long term. So we do see knight to e4. We got bishop going up to f3. Rook 8 goes to d6. And then we see another double attack. We're kind of continuously renewing it. Not only are we focusing on both of these rooks, but we are double hitting this knight. So... like I said before, you can kind of see how black is constantly being put in a position where they're having to like calculate so many different things, and it's very time consuming. So we got rook taking c2, we got rook taking c2, knight going back to g5, which we're not worried about doubling our pawns. We are up some material, so we are good to go. Queen takes d6, knight takes f3, we check. We got pawn taking, and then the queen does take on c2. So it kind of looks like, I mean, you know, things aren't really all that bad, right? I mean, you know, black is down a pawn, but I mean, white has like horrible structures. Like that has to mean something, right? It absolutely doesn't. You know, white has the ability to basically completely control the situation, and we see that flowing in the position that we have here. We got queen to b8, we check. The king slides down to h7, only move, and then we do see queen taking e5. And this is a really nice move, you know. So some of you guys might have taken immediately. Let me see here. Some of you guys might have taken this pawn immediately, which you absolutely can do. But sometimes it is instructive to place a check first. Because if you place a check first, sometimes you force the king to a square where you have to, you know, they're going to get checked again. And you can actually pick up a piece with check. It's not the case in this position here, but it's something that you can kind of, you know, take into the future. So like I said, we did see this position going on here. We got the move g6, trying to create like a little bit of air for the king. We do see queen going to d4. And like I said, I mean, this queen is just attacking this. It's cutting the king off a little bit. It's hitting this pawn right here. It's just perfectly placed in the center of the board. We do see king going to g8. We got queen to d8 with check. We got king down to g7. And now we see queen taking the pawn over there on h4. So even though we didn't grab it a long time ago, we're grabbing it now. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of like in the long-term plan. We got queen taking b2. And then we have queen to d4 check. And it is in this position that Wesley So resigns the game. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, okay, Like, it still kind of seems like, okay, yeah, you're down some material if you're black, but is it completely lost? Like, isn't there anything that I can do? Absolutely not. There's nothing that you can do. And I'm going to kind of show you what this end game, if you kind of did it a little bit further down, you know, pretty much what it would look like, you know, to some degree. Obviously, your queen is hanging on b2, so you have to capture here on d4, and then the pawn takes. And you have some issues. Number one, you're down 2 entire pawns, and that's a lot of pawns. Another thing is you have this pawn that is completely passed. And if this king can kind of like weasel his way into the situation, you're really kind of helping this pawn get to the touchdown. So if we kind of look at what a possible variation would be, you could probably look at king to f6. We got the king moving into the situation with f1. King slides over, king steps up, the king steps down, and then we have this position here where basically black is stalemated. They really don't want to move their king, so they're going to start moving some pawns, right? The problem in this situation is because white has more pawns, they actually have more what we call reserve tempi in the tank, and they are able to put black in a position where they're going to have to give at some point. So it might look something like this. We would see f6, f4, we got the move a6. And so you see that black is trying to make like individual pawn moves so they can have as many moves as possible. But like I said, white has way too many moves they can make also. So we will probably see a4, we got a5, so everything is now locked on the queen side. We do see h4 after we see f5. This is the problem of that black is in. They are in a Zugzwang, and they can't do anything to prevent what white is able to do. So white is able to make the move f3, and now you either push your g pawn and just get it taken for free, and it kind of gives you a little bit, but you've given a pawn, and you don't really have a lot of pawns to spare, or you have to give with your king. So most likely you would see the king backing up like this, and then king would come to c4. And you would have something where you would basically just kind of be repeating that position up the board. And then basically white is able to decide that they want to go to the king side or the queen side and start just mopping up pawns. And I mean, this is a game that you absolutely cannot win. So it's a very like easy, you know, kind of end game to win pretty much for most people. So that is that game. I appreciate everybody very much for coming by. All of my people in the Philippines, I would say magandang umaga. It is really early morning over there. Magandang hapon if you watch this later on. Masao tayo. Masaya Komakita Kangmuli. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by and seeing y'all again. Anybody who is coming from Uzbekistan, I will say Yashimzis. I appreciate you guys. Rahmat for coming by and taking a look. And I'm going to see you guys next time.